When you lift your mind above your current situation and fears and self-pity, you begin to understand that you are in control. Your mind, your consciousness is the origin of everything you are today. You are what you think about. There's no other way. When you believe in failure, you fail. When you believe you're gonna make it, you put in the work to make it. Your mind is always between two directions. Yes or no, do or don't do. It's always within those two options. But you are the master, you are the commander. The best example of this is trying to get out of bed in the morning. Of course, your mind is telling you, get out of here. Your body is saying, no, no, no. But at the minute where you've made the decision that I'm getting up, you get up. So that's the way it works in life. You are in control. When you make the decision that I'm going to go for this, you go for it regardless. No other person, I repeat this, no other person has control over you. No other person has the power to intercede for you. You have a direct link to God like every other person. If you haven't got directly, God would not give you the mind to think. He will give it to someone else to think for you. We have that freedom, that power to think. So therefore, use your mind. The minute you start to lift your mind up to the Most High, the minute you start to lift your mind up to the Most High, you begin to see every good and needful thing to do. I'm not just only every good and needful thing to do. You begin to see every good and needful thing that is currently present in your life at the moment. Even when you're going through the worst situation, the most difficult circumstances, things without your control. But the minute you begin to lift your mind above that current situation, the minute you begin to see yourself outside that, the minute you begin to see fear as a challenge, the minute you begin to kill self-pity and lift your mind above to the Most High, like, you have given me the mind, the heart, the soul to overcome whatever, you begin to realize you're actually not in a bad place. It's not as bad as it seems. Then you begin to see that which is within you, the power which is within you. Now, this is where I talk about the power of choice. The power of choice. Because for you to actually see the power within you, you need the power of choice. You need the power to see within you that the power, whatever you've been searching, has always been within you. Like whatever you've been traveling around this world looking for up and down has already been within you. The power of selection and absorption. That's the thing. We have two types of mind. The one that it's selective and the one that just absorbs everything around it. And therefore there's two types of people. Those that prosper are those who have the selection and absorption mind. So the select wall comes into the mind. They have a gate, they screen people. Their mind is guarded like a VIP with bodyguards and entourage. But that mind which absorbs everything around it, that's the mind that falls to drug. That's the mind that falls to codeine. That's the mind that gets that's used up as a slave. That's the mind when people tell them they can only intercede for them to get to God, take that. That's the mind that is controlled by their environment. So therefore you have to have a selective mind and an absorptive mind as well. So you absorb your environment, but you only select what's gonna work for you, what's good for you. Everything that's not gonna get you to where you tend to be, you let it go. And this, I say, this starts with you understanding the power within you. Nothing would work if you cannot say to yourself, I am in control. They say you can never control what controls you. You can never control what controls you. It's either your master or your slave. And if you're slave to your environment, it controls you. But first, you have to realize the power within you. I'm sure you've heard about the African proverb where, like a farmer sold his farm to run around the African looking for diamonds and to mine. And he went around all Africa and he couldn't find diamond, and he just, end of the day, he drowned himself and died. And then the farmer he sold his farm to just picked up a rock. He just left it on his fireplace. Then someone came and said, wow, what is this? He has found the biggest diamond in the world. That's because he actually never realizes he had diamond within him, within his farm all this time. So you have to realize, you have to try and understand what's within you before you start running about asking for people to pray for you, people to intercede for you, people to help you, people to give you a job. You have to actually realize what's within you. So the farmer sold his farm full of diamonds because he actually never realizes, actually never knows what a diamond is. And he went around running around the African plain searching for diamond, what he already had in his farm. So you have to realize the power within you. That's where it all starts. That's where it all starts. Conquering fear, killing self-pity. That's where it all starts, within you. No other person can intercede for you. I'm sure you heard about the saying that you can never climb the ladder of success on the back of another person. This is the same example. You can never get anywhere on the back of another person. You can never do anything folding your hands behind your back or just praying. Even God says it. You cannot fold your hand and just pray. Poverty will beset you, for poverty will come upon you. You have to walk and pray. Walk and pray. You have to understand that power. The power to say, look, I am in a hurry, I can't get into this conversation with you. The power to decline, catching up. The power to refuse to engage in pointless conversation of bashing on another person because they're not there. The power to gossip, the power to envy. The power, you are actually, that's the thing. They say it is axiomatic. Axiomatic is basically, unquestionable to have two opposite things in your mind at the same time. And you know what that means? The minute you start having a negative feeling, even when you're talking about someone, talking negative about someone, at that minute there is nothing positive going to your mind. And you should try and kill that, because you're jeopardizing yourself. The minute someone tries to drag into a negative conversation, you should say, look, I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry, just don't engage. Because at that minute you're engaging in negative thing, you're actually killing the good cell in you. That which brings you prosperity, that's what brings you joy. You are jeopardizing that. You should never engage in jealousy or envy, for God has created everyone with a different talent. So if someone is doing something better than you, probably they're putting in hard, they're working harder, they're putting in more time, they're doing research, they're reading, they're thinking. That's the most important thing. They are thinking. And I understand a lot of us don't even think. We just do mundane things. We wake up, we brush our teeth, we set an alarm, we go to work, we come back, we sleep, and we want to do this for 40 years till we die. We don't actually think day to day. Day to day, we don't think. So you should never envy. And if someone is doing better than you, is it that you're not putting in the work, or they're more talented than you in that area? But you have to try and find that area which you flourish, that area which you would become a superstar. They say always work on 3 things in every goal. Pick 2 skills, 2 of your strength, and 1 weakness. Because it's your strength you're gonna be celebrated for your strength, not for your weakness. Have you ever seen anyone who's celebrated for their failures? No. But before they get to that success, they have failed multiple times. Say Emerson failed 1,000 times just trying to get this light bulb that we take for granted every day. He had to try 1,000 times. Failures. Imagine you failing 1,000 times to pass 1 single exam. Imagine you praying 1,000 times for a single thing. But we throw in the towel. The minute you throw in the towel, you have given up. That's the end. You see it in boxing. Once a boxer throws in the towel, that's it. Once a boxer is knocked down, he never gets up. That's it. The minute you give in, you are over. It's over. You cannot go further than that. And that's why you should refuse to throw in the towel. Regardless of what other people tell you, regardless of the situation, you should always get ready to get up, dust yourself, and push on. Life has given you that power, that authority to be in control of yourself. The only person you should look up to is God. No other human in this world has the power to intercept for you. I tell you again, no other person has that power. No other person can hear. God does not deliver a message through another person to you. No. God gave you the mind, so whatever it's for you, it will come straight to you. No one could hear anything and translate it to you. No, God does not speak in a unique language. He speaks to everyone. But first, you must think. You cannot hear God when you don't even think. Why? Because God is within you. It's always been within you. They always been all the miracle, everything God Jesus did is always within you. The minute you refuse to think, the minute you've given the power to someone else to think for you, you must go and find your talent. You must go and find what you're good at. Continue to work. Continue to work on it. Continue to work on it until it flourishes. I must underline this word: continue to work. Work. Be persistent. No giving up after a month because you're not getting the reward or you're not blown, as they say. Persistent. They say who is more persistent would overcome he who is more talented. That's because you cannot rely on your talent alone. Regardless, you cannot just keep your talent is like a savings account. You have to for you to be able to keep drawing month after month, you have to keep topping it up month after month. If you just rely on your savings, you keep withdrawing, you're gonna run out of it. You're gonna run out of your saving, and that's what happens to young men who just maybe they hit the jackpot one time and they stop every other thing they're doing. They just stop drawing, and next thing they broke. That's what happened to lottery winners. They win a million or something, and they stop everything. They just focus on drawing, no investment, no plan, no thinking. Before you know, they broke, they bankrupt, they back into the same place. You have to continue to work, to develop, to grow, to become something. And how do you get this? You have to start to read. I tell you, you have to start to read. Someone said to me, I think it was maybe a lot of people, but I think even last time Curtis Jackson, you might know him as 50 Cent. He said, the only place you can hide something from a black man is in a book. When you put something in a book, a black man will never get there. That's because majority of black people don't care about reading. I know a lot of people who read, who work in Wall Street, who work in the city, black people, but majority will never read. And how can you read? How can you understand the process of other people's success and failure? How can you see what other route other people have gone before they blow? And then when they fell back on their face, how they started again? You have to read. You have to read. You cannot rely on your experience alone. You have to learn. You can't. To rely on your experience alone is to try and make 1,000 mistakes like Thomas Edison did. We don't have that time to start making 1,000 mistakes. If you've made a mistake for 2-3 months, that's enough. That's enough time to make mistake. You have to move into something else. So how do you overcome this? How do you take this shortcut? You have to read. You learn from other people's experience, and then you can go further. And you can stop yourself from making the same mistakes. By reading, you understand as well. Even if you're 4 years behind, you haven't gotten to your goal. You know that there've been people who has been in that same process 10 years. It encourages you to push on. Even when you're failing, it encourages you to get up and keep trying. By reading, you take yourself out of your environment. You place yourself in another place, in another entire world. You refuse to limit yourself to your environment. By understanding that what I'm trying to do, even if there's no one around my environment who's done it before, someone somewhere has done it. Therefore, I should be able to do it. Even if it's 1, 2, 3 years, as far as you're excited about that thing, it wakes you up. It makes you think every day. You would never quit because you see failure in a different light. By understanding, by reading, you see failure in a different light. You know that failure is just challenges. It gives you different options. It opens different area to you. When one will begin to understand that the change in our circumstance is aligned with the change in our minds, then our thoughts and thinking start changing. And when our thoughts and thinking start changing, our environment start changing. They say when you change inward, your outward appearance, your outward action has no other choice but to follow suit, to change. Your inside becomes your outside. We all see people who have bad attitude, bad characters, bad habits. It's not on the outside, but we see their action. But that's within them. That's what they think about. Therefore, that's what they transmit. That's what they exhibit. But when you begin to think, when you begin to see something in a different aspect, the implication here is not that we are in a new environment. No, we are in the same environment, but now we see our present environment differently because we're now in control. Whereas before, we've been controlled by our environment. We're now masters rather than slaves. We're now selective rather than absorbing. And as I keep saying, time after time, the only change is, that's the crazy thing. You only have to change yourself to change your environment. The only change necessary is the change within our inner self. It begins to reshape our outer self. People now begin to realize you change person, different attitude. They start saying, oh, how come you don't do this anymore? How come you don't sit with us anymore? How come some would even criticize you? Oh, look at him now. He thinks he's so good. He thinks he's this. He thinks he's that. The crab mentality. That's because when you begin to grow, you're going to have obstacles from your friend. Those who want to pull you back. Those who want you to come and spend your time drinking and watching some kind of show and smoking and having codeine or whatever. You will have those people who will start, envying you, hating you, because the thing is, the people who are going nowhere want company. They want company. The people who are going to be at the bottom of the hill, who can never climb the hill, they don't want you to climb the hill. They want you to sit there. They want to prevent you from climbing the hill. They want company. They want to be left alone. That's the thing. Everyone wants company. So if they say you're about to leave, they want to keep you there. Those are the first people who's going to have something negative to say about you. Why? Because they want to be able to keep you in that same position, because they know they have gotten to their peak. They can never outgrow that position, and you are just about to start. So you should never listen to that. You should follow your mind. If you're going to climb. You rather die trying to climb that mountain or sitting at the bottom of the mountain. The minute you begin to hear negative things about you, that's the moment you should intensify your attitude, intensify your hustle, intensify your work, because you know you are in the right direction. Oh, you don't come to party anymore, or you don't come to hang out with on the weekend anymore, or you don't come to, no, because now you have a plan, you have a goal, you have a list. You wake up and doing this and this. They say just a simple thing. If you read 15 minutes, just 15 minutes every day, for some fast readers or maybe for slow readers, you read half an hour every day, you will be reading half a book a week. 2 books. Imagine reading 2 books a month. For someone who's never read before, I started the same way. You will be reading half a book a week, 2 books a month. Imagine that. Just 15 to 30 minutes every single day. Just even 5 days a week. You don't even have to do it on the weekend. Once you start to understand this, you would stop all the begging. You will stop all the besieging, prostrating to the outer world. When you begin to understand that everything you've always needed is within you, is already be given to you from birth, then why all the effort to convince other people of your dream? When we should allow people to see our dream, see our action, see our change within our environment. They say action speaks louder than voice. If you're explaining, you've lost. So just keep your mouth shut, close your mind, and drive. It's simple. They say once you start explaining in any situation, you've lost. Champions don't. Champions just focus on their action. They let the action speak for you. Champions don't go about explaining. No, they don't make excuses. They just allow the actions to speak for them. It's simple. That's what a champion does. For I must say this to you, for whatever you're about to ask God or nature, just know that God has provided that for you. God has provided that for you already. So that's what I'm telling you. No one has priority over you. No one has. God does not play favorite with his children. Just like a father would never have, two children and play favorite. He might love them differently because of how they exhibit their character, their attitude, but he would love them equally. So therefore, God does not play favorite with his kid. No one, I repeat, no one can see any vision for you which you can't see for yourself. That's just the truth. No one can see anything for you which you can see for yourself. No one can interpret anything to you which you can see for yourself. Just as simple as no other human can see through your own eyes. Imagine that. When you look at something, you see, because no other person can see through your own eyes. In that same way, physically is spiritual. No one can see for you no one can see a vision for you. You are in control. The minute you begin to realize this, that you've always been in control, that's the minute you let go. But the problem is, the people who are exploiting you would never allow you to understand that you are in control. They will make you always believe they have the power over you. Why? Because they want you to be in a position where you surrender to them. Without any slave, they wouldn't be a master. So for them to be master, they have to be slave. And if they give you that power to make you understand that you are actually a master of your own, there can only be one master in a boat, or one captain, or in an aircraft, one pilot. You can't have two masters. Therefore, you have to have this self-realization. You have to self-surrender to your inner self, to God. They say to receive, you must give. I don't mean giving blindly. No, you must choose a good cause to give. And if you give into religious organization, you must ask questions like, where is this my giving going to? What is it being used for? You have that permission to ask. That is the point. You cannot just give blindly. No, when you give, you must take the authority to ask, what am I giving for? What difference is it making? God says, help those who cannot help themselves. Therefore, you must give to grow, but you must give to a good cause that you can finally see the difference is making. Like I said, don't focus on any other person interceding for you. You have the power, the authority to intercede for yourself. You must be selective about your giving. Don't just give blindly. That's laziness. And what am I saying? To become a new you must get rid of the old you. For example, to start a healthy lifestyle, you must give up bad lifestyle. You must give up the smoking or the drinking, eat more fruit, more vegetable, go for a walk. To get to success, we must overcome failure. That's it. We must pass through failure to get to success. We must turn our mind away from our current association and preoccupation with things and people that keeps us where we are or where we don't like to be. We don't be those people who are just busy for being busy. I'm so busy today. What have you done? Nothing. Busy for being busy. You must keep your mind away from those. Plan your day. Walk your point. Change things if they need to, or follow a plan. If you can write down a list, a shopping list, why can't you write down a daily plan for your life? Which is more important? The food you put in you, or the food, or the thoughts that comes into you? What you take into you, the food, or what you give to the world? You have the power to be what you want in your mind. And once you become what you want in your mind, then you have the power to attract from around the world that which you want. The way to change your actions is to change your feelings. And your feelings are your thoughts. What you think about is what you feel. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone tells you something and immediately a smile comes into your face? That's it. Because you think about that thing, now that's how you feel. And because you feel that way, you're quickly to express it. What you feel inside is what you give outside. For instance, for you to climb a ladder, you must let go of the lower one to grab hold of the higher one. So to grow, we must let go. We must let go of all the bad habit, of all the negative thing, of all the jealousy, of all the misconception, we must let go of all the bad habit to allow in good habit. There's not enough space in us to accommodate all this. Cannot have both good and bad. I heard some people say, "Oh, that's me on Sundays when I go to church, and this is me the rest of the day." No, you cannot be two different people. You are who you are. You have chosen to be that way. You can be how you are on Sunday the rest of your life if you choose to. The way to control circumstances is to control your thoughts. The way to attract success is to become better you. Everything, I keep saying, everything we want is within us. Maybe something just misplaced, like you have something in your house, you misplace it and you're looking for it. But when you start looking, surely you will find. Just look harder within yourself. Just look harder. You will come across it. You will find it. The way to increase your income is not to work more hours, but by increasing the service we offer within the same hours. That's how people go from £5 an hour to £10 an hour to £15 an hour. By increasing the service they're able to offer within that same hour. The way to tackle a problem is to change the way we approach it. If you see it as a challenge, then you buckle up to go against it, rather than seeing it as a problem you have to run away from. To make friends, we must become friendly person. I'm sure you know those who they said they're approachable. You can't even approach that person. And not because they're better than anyone else or they're bad people, just because they're outside, their appearance puts people off. It scares people away. So I'm telling you these things, it's easy to start if you are willing to. And if you can't, if you think all these things is difficult, I could put it in bullet point for you. Okay, I'll tell you. If you don't know where to start, I would say please start here. Number 1, let go of all suspicions, all unmerciful and hateful state of mind. That's number 1. Number 2, give up all criticism, criticizing anyone, antagonizing anyone, being bitter, envy, jealousy. You must give up all those. Number 3, you must give up ill wills, grudges, resentment, self-pity. Clear your mind of any doubt and fear. Number 4, you must give your best to others, regardless. Always expect the best from others. When you give your best to others, you might not necessarily get the best from those people, but somehow that becomes part of you, and before you know, you will be getting the best. We all know we're going to run into horrible people, people who have ill will against us, but always give your best to that person and move on. Don't give because you're expecting to receive from that person. No, give because it is good to give, and then you're building your character for future. Because when you become that person, before you know, you start attracting those type of people around you, and gradually you start cutting off the negative people around you. Make the best of everything, and then you start to attract the best of everything in your life. As in, live in the present, and the future will take care of itself. If you have something to do it to your best ability, to the best perfection. Give it more than 100%. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry about today. Just be where you are. Be present. Your ability to become success in life is not based on your opinion of what you want, but it's based on your mind of who you are, who you're becoming. They say do not argue, but contemplate circumstances. Throw them around in your mind, just like you swirl wine around in your mouth. Throw them around, contemplate, and as you do, you allow your thoughts to fall. And when your thoughts fall, they take form. They pass into a stage of rebuilding. Why? Because you walk this around the mind. It takes form and start to rebuild it. Our thoughts are things, and things are ideas. That's how they come from. Nothing starts from nothing, just from our mind. Nothing comes from thought except ideas. So if you never think, imagine, you will never have an idea. And if you never have an idea, that means for the rest of your life, you're going to be utilized by someone with the idea. You're going to become the the ant that works for, the greater cause, never ever being able to own anything. Therefore, we should approach all problems and all difficulties by having the right thought, and we shall overcome. We shall overcome them by changing our thoughts to the right direction. This is simple. I mean, when you start, it might look difficult, but I tell you, this is actually simple. To write down your problem on the top list of your paper and start staring at it like, I'm going to come up with a solution. I'm going to come up with a solution. Because when you start to think, your mind is like a car. It starts to drive. You turn on the ignition, you're giving it the gas to go. That's what you need to do. So life is like whatever you always think of will be for you. If you think of good, good will come into your world. If you think of bad, bad will come into your world. That's the universe power. That's what the universe, that's how it begins. They say what you believe is true becomes your truth. That's it. You've seen those who, they tell lies so much, and that lie has become the truth. They actually can't tell a lie from a truth because their lie has become their truth. And that's what you think of all the time. You begin to accept it. And before you know, you are acting it out. And it takes hold of you and control your actions. And now your whole world, or the whole world, sees you as that which you are or which you believe. You can see in most religion, in most people actually act out their belief. What they believe is that what they become. You hear someone, oh, I'm a born again, oh, I'm this and that. They've become what they believe, which started from maybe not the inception, an idea. The thing I'm telling you here from all this whole ranting is you already have more than you ever need in you. You already have this. So whenever you see or wherever you see limitation, it's only because you have placed that limitation there. You yourself, you have placed that blockage there for yourself. That is just it. No other person could place a blockage on you. No other person. People didn't give you a job. People didn't give you this. No. You should never expect people to give you. You should be able to want to get for yourself because that person has gotten for themselves. So when you see limitation, that's because you have believed in limitation. You have placed limitation in yourself. Therefore, nothing else befalls you other than limitations. A lot of people see limitation because maybe like in their environment, no one has done it before, and then they think, oh, that's the limit, or people tell them, well, you can never do it because of, your skin color, your height, your age, whatever, or don't bother trying. It's never been done before by anyone such as yourself. That's the thing, such as yourself, anyone such as yourself. But wait a minute. You should say, well, if human of any kind have done it, then you can. Regardless of they are like you or they're not like you. If any human of any kind, have done it, then you can. Why? Because you have the same organs, the same everything, the same mind as every other living human. And then if no human had done it before, then if no human has done it before, like this, they say this has never been done before. Well, then you will be the first. There's always a first to something. You will be the first. There's always first people setting record and all that. Why? That's not above you. They have nothing on you. So why can't you be the first? Like I repeat again, there is no such thing as limitation on itself. Nothing. Limitation on itself does not exist. The only limitation is our ignorance, our lack of understanding. In our words, and ignorance and lack of understanding, they are our worst enemy because they create inferiority complex, blundering, fear, failure, lack of self-esteem. Nothing, I repeat, nothing in this world can hold us back except our thoughts, except what we think about That is our limitation. So I'm saying to you, the power of whatever is within you, the power of anything you're going to go through has been given to you. You set your own limitation. That's all. You run as fast as you can. You set your own speed. God has provided us with more than we shall ever need. The universe gives to all that inhabits it in surplus. If God gives the ultimate power to those, if God gives power to plant an animal to live by instinct, and yet plant an animal thrive, just they live by instinct, that's all. They thrive. How much more you as a human who God has given the power to think, the power to see tomorrow, the power to plan, the power to dream, how much more? So I say to you, whatever you are getting, please listen to me. Whatever you are getting today is in line with your thought. Whatever you are getting today, right now, it's in line with what you've been thinking. And the minute you start to change what you've been thinking, the minute you result, what you start getting would start changing. This follows the law of the universe. You can't go against it. This is the law of the universe. The law that separates is the same law that unifies. The law that takes away is the same law that gives. The law that takes away the old, when the old dies, is the same law that gives birth to a newborn baby. The law that makes someone a slave is that same law that makes another a master, or makes us free. The law that puts us in captivity is that same law that makes us free. The law that brings health is that same law that brings sickness. The law that brings poverty is that same law that brings wealth. There is just one law, just one. It all depends on how you see it or how you choose to use it. Nothing else, just one single law for every human being. Just one. There is no two. There's no two law for some people. No, there is just one law. No human being has more organ than the other person. No, there is just one law for every one of us. However we use it, it's totally dependent on us 100%. So I say to you today, think. When you start thinking, your words start changing. You put your mind in auto drive, ideas start flowing. You become a different you, and then the world starts seeing you differently.